Sup ballers, Johnny Balls here to show you how to play City Skylines, or at the very least how to set up stuff to begin with. There are some very basic things that I've seen you guys just completely screw up on after watching me play it. It's easy to watch somebody else play this and go, I'm gonna play this, I can make a city too. But when you don't understand the fundamentals of the game, it makes it impossible for you to do so. So for you specifically, Impact, this video is for you. I'm gonna show you some basic pointers on just how to set up your game, and you can go on your merry way and figure out the rest of it for yourself. But for those of you who need a complete for dummies tutorial, this is for you. So we're gonna go ahead and start with a new game, and we're gonna go ahead and use something with a lot of water, and you'll see why in a second. We're gonna cut to whenever this actually loads, because otherwise you'll just be watching a loading screen, and who the hell wants to do that, right? Alright, so we are here. This is the very beginning part of the game. Now, we have a highway that comes into this little area here. We're going to need to know about this, but first thing you want to do before we start, pause the game. That way anything that you do, you're not actually paying any taxes on it or anything like that. So what we're going to do, you need to go ahead and start with a roundabout. Now, I'm not going to show you the fancy roundabouts because that's for more experienced people. This is just, again, for dummies. Before you do anything, you just need to build a small segment of road and then bulldoze it so you can unlock the other parts of or other road options rather. So now that we've done that, we're gonna just pick the one, we want the one way here. Go ahead and select the curved road, go in between the two roads here, and you're gonna go to the little line there, and you see where there's like a little dickhead that just goes right over the line. Click once, voila. You now have half of a roundabout. This is not going to be perfect because I am doing this kind of rush just to show you what you need to do. But overall, this will get the point across. There you go. There is your relatively imperfect circle. And now we need to connect the roundabout. Again, there are better ways to do this, but for now, we're doing this. Just because, again, this is for dummies. This is for people who don't know what the hell that they're doing. There. Alright, so now that we've done that, you can go right or left or straight. Now, straight obviously leads into the water. We don't want to do that quite yet. What we want to do is we want to segue off a couple of paths. One way will be for your industry and one will be for your residential. Now, what I like to do is I like to go ahead and put some windmills in the middle there. However, I don't recommend doing that for every case. I think that once you're more experienced and know what you're doing, you should absolutely do that if you'd like. I have to upgrade the roads to the correct roads so they're not all one way, and we've done that. We'll go ahead and get some smaller roads going. Make sure that you're not doing the upgrade feature like I just tried to do. And once you plow through some woods here, again, this does not have to be perfect. Alright, so that will be more or less your residential, right? So go ahead and zone all of that. Now the middle part, I recommend you put commercial, because you want to separate your industry from your residential for pollution reasons, both actual pollution and noise pollution. There is actually a difference in this game. It will affect your citizens' happiness as well as their health. So there you go. That's honestly more than enough commercial. You really do not need that much to start off the game. But for what we're doing, we're just going to go ahead and do that. We're going to build a few more roads. Alright, and that can also be residential. There we go. Now we need to build a few industry roads over here. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright. Let's go ahead and build the industry up here. And one thing that's actually really important is that you're going to need a power plant. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead and you only have these options to start unless you have a mod. The windmill, the power line, and the coal plant. We're going to go ahead and go with the coal plant. Stick it right over here. Because that way your commercial is already adjacent to the power plant. It could start to already develop and you won't have to put any power lines there. That goes to my next point. Your power lines. You see the blue little part of this map right here. Go ahead and stick the power line somewhere in that blue. Go around the outside to the outside of your residential. Eventually it will develop and you won't need these power lines because this will all be filled and it'll be one connected grid, right? But for now you need to have a limited number of power lines. There, your electricity is now done. Let's deal with water. You have basically two options at this point that you need to worry about. You've got your water pumping station, that's how you get clean water, and your water drain pipe, which is your shit pipe. Now, if you go up here, you're going to see these arrows. This is the direction the water is flowing. Very important for you to remember this. Alright, so we are selecting our water pump. You want to get that as far away from your shit pipe as possible, and that shit pipe needs to be down the stream. It cannot be upstream, or otherwise you're going to have shit water getting into your regular water and your citizens are going to get sick. So we'll go ahead and run a pipe from one to the other, and now we will go ahead and run that pipe down into this area. All of this in the blue is what is currently connected as far as water. All the grids that you have that are in the blue will have access to clean water and sewage at this point. So we need to make sure that all of these have access to water, otherwise they're going to complain. And there you go. That is the most basic thing that you can possibly do to start this game. Now we can go ahead and unpause, fast forward, and you'll start to see here shortly, people are moving in. Now, you see right there, we already have power lines going through here, so this will already be connected with electricity. We do not need to run power lines all the way through fucking town over here. So eventually industry will develop. You may want, if they start to develop over here, you may want to run a power line along the outside. And to just show you what I mean, you would just do something like this, right? Just right on the outside. That's enough that anything that develops over here will have electricity. They're of course going to start building near the power plant. That would be the logical thing for the game to do. But you see all the blue right here. That's all connected by the power lines. You don't need to put any power lines in the places that don't have blue because that's not developed yet. If there were buildings that were developed here that were disconnected from this blue, it would have its own bubble. And you would need to connect it with separate power lines. But as we don't have that, don't worry about it. Especially at the very early stages of the game, you're going to have inconsistent development. You will eventually have, see, we're already building a little hamlet here. You will eventually have, like at the bottom here, like a house or two that will build and it won't be connected to this. Don't worry about that at first. Eventually more people will move in and it will connect it on its own. So there you go. See, we already have industry over here. We'll go ahead and move out. There you go. That's your little hamlet right there. That's how you get started, and you just build from there. Whenever you're... Oh yeah, we also... There's one other thing that you need to do. You need to run a power line to your water and shit pipes. Now, we have a little bit extra money, so rather than doing that, I'm going to just put a windmill right next to these. There you go. Now they have fucking water and sewage. Let's fast forward. It's gone. They no longer have any issues with water or sewage. This one does, though. That is because they don't have water. They're right on the outskirts. So we need to build a pipe dedicated for right there and just candy corner that off right there. There you go. They have water. And that's how you do it, folks. Whenever you end up having all of this connected with electricity, like you see right here, you no longer need these power lines. So you can actually just demolish them. And you get a little bit of money back for each one that you do. See, these are disconnected. These are the bubbles that I was telling you about. Those actually do need to be connected at this point. But eventually the rest of this will develop and will become connected and you will no longer need the power lines. So So that's it. That's my tutorial for you on how to play this game, at least at the very beginning, and from there, now you know the basics. You will eventually have to add things like schools, police stations, and fire departments, but I'm going to let you figure that out on your own. Those are pretty easy to figure out. The basic infrastructure seems to be the problem for most people, and there are definitely better ways of going about it, but for basic beginners, this is all you need to know. I'm Johnny Balls. I hope this has been informative for you.